Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Purivadikacharya Ashtotar Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Monday, March 31st, 2025 in New York, and today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 12th chapter, text number 43. So glad you could be with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Akendra Prabhu.
We definitely missed you Friday, but I expect your science program with Yogeshvara Prabhu was enlivening, I hope.
It was. Thank you. But I miss you anyway. Miss the gang.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Yakshatrabandhur tisyadhirudham Anvaruruksherapi varsha bhugai Shatpanchavarsho yadaho biralpahi Prasadya vaikuntam avapya tatpadam. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 years after undergoing austerity for 6 months. Alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Dhruva Maharaj is described herein as Kshatrabandhu, which indicates that he was not fully trained as a Kshatriya because he was only 5 years old. He was not a mature Kshatriya. Kshatriya or Brahmana has to take training. A boy born in the family of a Brahmana is not immediately a Brahmana. He has to take up the training and the purificatory process. The great sage Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. He had many other disciples, but he was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because in one lifetime, by dint of his severe penances and austerities, he had achieved Vaikuntha, which was never achieved by any other king's son or Rajarshi throughout the whole universe. There is the instance of the great King Bharata, who was also a great devotee, but he attained Vaikuntha Loka in 3 lives. In the first life, although he executed austerities in the forest, he became a victim of too much affection for a small deer, and in his next life he had to take birth as a deer. Although he had a deer's body, he remembered his spiritual position, but he still had to wait until the next life for perfection. In the next life, he took birth as Jayadvaita. Pardon me. Of course, in that life, he was completely freed from all material entanglement, and he attained perfection and was elevated to Vaikuntha Loka. The lesson from the life of Dhruva Maharaj is that if one likes, one can attain Vaikuntha Loka in one life without waiting for many other lives. My Guru Maharaj, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, used to say that every one of his disciples could attain Vaikuntha Loka in this life without waiting for another life to execute devotional service. One simply has to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj, then it is quite possible to attain Vaikuntha Loka and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada stresses here the need for sincerity and seriousness. One may be reminded of Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulayena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttamam. That the qualification of a pure devotee is that Anya Abhilashita, the quality of having no other desire than for pure devotional service. That's sincere and serious in Prabhupada's book, actually in many of Prabhupada's books. And here he gives the example of the contrasting example of Jayadvaita, who became attached to a deer and then had to take birth as a deer, etc. And I think I mentioned this before in this class that it's not the problem with Bharat Maharaj wasn't that he had the attachment to the deer, although that was a problem, but the real clincher why he had to take birth again was the fact that he didn't sort that attachment out with his spiritual preceptor. Somehow that option didn't get taken, and so because he wasn't either able to or willing to sort out that attachment and have it nipped in the bud, as it were. He had to his process of going to Vaikuntha Loka was slightly more protracted than that of Dhruva Maharaj. Mm-hmm. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we'd love to hear from you on this verse if you'd like to say something.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tatati Shapadantika Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamadam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. It's notable here that Narad Muni was proud to have a disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. We say that these key to spiritual success is to please the spiritual master. The spiritual master becomes pleased just to see that his disciple is advancing in Krishna consciousness. Of course, spiritual master also may want to see something practical done. That's also there. But to see, yes, my disciple has become so serious in Krishna consciousness, so advanced. This will please the spiritual master. That's the purpose. Spiritual master's purpose is to guide the disciple back home, back to Godhead. So when the disciple achieves success, how the spiritual master becomes delighted. Yes. Here, in one lifetime, one can become Krishna consciousness. Of course, Prabhupada, it's very simple. You just have to be sincere and determined, like Dhruva Maharaj. Well, that's a tall order. But we get the idea that one should be very serious about this process of Krishna consciousness. And it's possible, yes, one can go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada said it often, in one lifetime. Radhesha asked when the counting begins. Whenever perfection is attained, could it be counted as attained in one lifetime? Otherwise, we all have countless lifetimes preceding the moment of success. The counting begins now. One lifetime means now. Don't take another birth, then one lifetime. That's when the counting starts. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Something more here. Saraswati Mata says, Pranams Param Puji Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. A neophyte may find so many competing desires, all screaming for attention, and it can require a lot of effort to silence the mind with focused chanting. Still, at times, it may be like a losing battle. One may wish if only you can physically cut away the mind so one can separate from it altogether.
Yeah, we sometimes become exasperated. We're trying to control the mind, and sometimes it seems hopeless. It's Vayuriva Shadushkaram. It seems like it's as hard to control the mind as it is to control the hurricane. So it comes to mind, Krishna says, Yato yato nischalati, manas chanchalam astiram, tatastato niyamyaitad, atmanyeva vishamne. Wherever the mind wanders because it's restless, fickle, unsteady, distracted, one should bring it back. One should bring it back. This presupposes that it's not going to be a one-shot success, that I'll just sit down and say, all right, now I'm going to control the mind. And that'll be it. Now for the next 2 hours, my mind will be focused. That may not happen. But, and therefore Krishna says, wherever it goes, yato yato, where the heck soever it goes, bring it back. From wherever the heck that is, tatastato, bring it back under control. So that presupposes that the mind is going to wander, it is going to go here and there, but that we have to bring it back. And then where does asamshayam mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam abhyasena tukonte avairagena chagriyate. Yes, it's hard to control the mind, but it's possible by abhyasena, which Prabhupada translates as a suitable practice. If you take some unsuitable practice, you can try for 10,000 years. Nothing's going to happen. But suitable practice. Now, in one sense, we were all given the suitable practice, chant Hare Krishna, follow 4 regular principles, and so on. Then in another sense, everyone has some particular engagement given by the spiritual master, given by higher authorities. So that's also suitable practice. Then we're also reminded, what is that? Utsaha Nishchaya Tarya. Rupa Goswami says, continue with enthusiasm and with patience and with determination. All of these things. And some days it will seem hopeless, but we'll stick with it. Because Nishchaya, we have confidence, and Tarya, we're ready to wait it out, or to slug it out. I'm always reminded of the athletes, especially those guys in Bombay over the wall. Every day. And for sure, some days it seems like we're not getting anywhere. But then one day just becomes, yes, we can do it. Any person who's achieved success, of course, sometimes it just depends on former credit, and one just automatically brilliant. But generally, by determination, by practice, that will bring us to the point. Akhilesh Prabhu.
Two things I want to do. One question and then one point on patience and determination. It's a material example, but we can apply it to spiritual context. Just last week, Radha was crying that she was not able to do certain routine.
Yes, your daughter.
Yes.
Some gymnastic routine that she couldn't do.
Yeah, and she was saying that I want to give up gymnastic. And then 1 week, and then she got first place.
Yeah.
So we don't know how close we are.
Last week she was ready to quit, and this week she won the first place award.
So, and then Maharaj, a question I have on this part, that other day Osh was asking that, Papa, do you ever think that what if these practices which you're doing in Krishna consciousness, what if it all is not true? My response to him was, Maharaj, and you can correct or add to that, told him that well, what am I missing on?
Mm.
Let's look at that. So the only thing which I'm missing on is I'm not drinking, intoxicating, which you next day you wake up with bad headache. I'm not doing meat eating, which is like I'm not hurting animals and others, and I'm having good friends
Mm.
outside. You meet all kind of people. So even if it all, let's say hypothetically, is not true, I'm still having very good life. Every week we are going and dancing and feasting and meeting well wishers. So that's a good life.
That's one answer. Another answer is, what if material life is not true? You're getting so many promises, you'll be happy by this, you'll be happy by that. What if that's not true? You want to say, oh, what if Krishna consciousness was, what if everything else is not true? But apart from that, it's more or less useless to sit around and say, oh, what if none of it's true? You should investigate that. Kaviraj Goswami says that you should examine the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You're thinking, oh, what if it's not true? But people who are much more serious than you have considered from so many angles of vision. And they've given us Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, such Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. So they've thought about it. What is that in the Bhagavad Gita? The second chapter, I'm thinking. What am I thinking? What is that first where it says that those who've carefully considered the difference between matter and spirit? My Bhagavad Gita is on the table there. Yeah. The Drishyontas Tvanios Tattvadarshvi. This book is great. You just pick it up and you remember the verse. I don't know how that works, but it works often. Tvanios Tattvadarshvi. That those who've Drishtontas, who've considered the matter all the way to the end. It's typical that we look at something part way and say, but those who've looked at it end to end, they've considered. These are their conclusions. Then another thing, you're looking at the whole thing. What if it's all untrue? You start at the beginning. You don't look at the physics book and say, oh, what if it's all untrue? You start with your basic mathematics. Then you start with your basic Newtonian physics. Then you start to look at quantum mechanics. Then you go, deep into the thing. You don't just look at the quantum mechanic books and say, what if it's all untrue? So you consider, is the body the same as the soul? Or is the soul different? Or there's no soul? You have to consider these things carefully. Don't just say, what if it is true? That's the cheap way out. You begin in the beginning. We have some postulates, we build on that, build on that. Then we have what should we say, articulated philosophy. But if you just come to the top and say, what if none of it's true? You start here. Is it true that I'm this body, or is it not true? Is it true that I'm consciousness different from the body? Is it not true? That you consider by your intelligence. And don't just give us this, what if it's none of it? You use your head, use your intelligence. Look at it and say, is this true? Is this not true? Should I believe that I'm this body? that consciousness is just an epiphenomenon of matter? Or should I think that consciousness is something distinct from matter? Krishna is giving his arguments, how your body has changed so many times. You're the same person. He's given there's so many kinds of evidence given. So you consider these things in the association of the devotees. And if it makes sense to you, then we'll go on to the next lesson. You don't have to jump ahead to lesson 12. First, you take lesson 1. And if lesson 1 makes sense, all right, now I'm lesson 2. Yes. Doesn't require but we just buy into a whole system of hypotheticals. But you consider point 1 first. It's interesting. Prabhupada was arguing with meeting, but basically arguing with some intellectual maybe. And Prabhupada was arguing that there must be God. And the person's going this way and going that way, trying to wiggle out of it. And so the man says, yes, but why do we have to accept Krishna as God? And Prabhupada said, that we can consider later. He said, Krishna may or may not be God. My point is that there must be God. So it's a very good lesson, first of all, of what to do with topic switchers, people who want to change the topic on you. Because Prabhupada's topic was there must be God. And he didn't want to be cornered on that. Why? So he wanted to derail the argument. Prabhupada caught him. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, it means you go step by step. Krishna may or may not be God. That we'll decide later. First thing is there must, otherwise what's the use? Krishna may be God or someone else may be God, but if you don't accept that there's God, there's no point. So first let us decide this point. Am I this body or am I not this body? Everything comes from matter, everything comes from God. You start from the basic points, and then you don't have to, what if, theoretically this, theoretically that. You take it step by step. What's cooking such a freedom? Okay. All right. There's something else. Yes,
Yeah.
if you're indeed interested. Oh, okay, I can't read them all, so someone else can.
Yeah, Saraswati Masterji writes, problem is, if you did forget Krishna and have given in to the material distraction due to uncontrolled mind, then rest of day you are too much guilt-driven and miserable.
The rest of the day you're too much. No, just that's also sense gratification. I've cited that before. I think it's in Prayers of King Kulashekar. Otherwise, it's Narada Bhakti Sutra, one of the 2 books that Prabhupada started that Satsuru Maharaj completed, with help from Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu. That the comment is that if one overindulges, we think I'm so low, I'm so incapable, that's good. But if it goes to the point where I'm so low, I can never serve Krishna, I might as well spend the rest of the day moping and being miserable, then that's sense gratification. It's self-indulgence. You stop your nonsense and do something practical. Otherwise, it's again Maya's business. No, I'm too low, I can't serve Krishna, so I might as well do some nonsense. Let me do something Krishna conscious. If I can't do this, I'll do something. And not that, well, even that, suppose I fell down, then still I have to get up. And Prabhupada gives the example that a child falls on the ground, he picks himself up by pushing on the same ground. So, not that we stay fallen. If I fell, I might as well, that's it, I might as well remain fallen. All right, dust yourself off and get up and go at it again. Darya, Dhruva Maharaj, he's determined. He got rejected. Father rejected it. He didn't give up. He cried enough, but then he did something. So do something. Hare Krishna.
Radesha Prabhu writes, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichara Karite Chitte Pabe Chamakara. If you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply it to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful.
Yes, then Ubiyor api drishtontas tvanios tattvidarshibi. Drishta anta means seen up to the final point. Seen up to the final point. Ultimately. What is that? Nasato vijite bhavo nabhavo vijite sata. Ubiyor api drishtontas tvanios. So the nasato vijite bhavo nabhavo, that which is permanent is always existing. That which is temporary never exists. It has no substantial existence. Ubiyor api drishta anta. Tvanios tattvadarshi. The tattvadarshis have come to this conclusion after examining the matter up to the final point. They've gone all the way to the end, and this is what they've seen. Therefore, upadekshanti te ganinas tattvadarshana. We should understand the truth from the tattvadarshis. Hare Krishna.
Radesha Prabhu writes, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Thank you, Radesha Prabhu. And Radesha Prabhu, are you available to read our text 44?
Sure.
Krishna, Krishna.
Text 44. Maitreya Uvacha. Etate bhitam sarvam yat prishtoham ihatvaya dhruvasyodama yashashas charitam sammatam satam. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, I have explained to you in all detail. Great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether we hear the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, or we hear about the character, reputation, and activities of his devotees, they are all one and the same. Neophyte devotees simply try to understand the pastimes of the Lord and are not very interested in hearing about the activities of his devotees. But such discrimination should not be indulged in by any real devotee. Sometimes less intelligent men try to hear about the rasa dance of Krishna and do not take care to hear about other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam, which they completely avoid. There are professional Bhagavata reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Lila chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as if other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of the Rasa Lila pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the Acharyas. A sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, for the beginning verses describe that it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. Devotees should not try to avoid even a word of Srimad Bhagavatam. The great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that the Bhagavatam is sammatam satam, approved by great devotees. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayadvaita Swami Namni. In the 12th canto, there's a nice verse that says Adhau Madhyamanta. Anyway, from beginning, middle, and end of Srimad Bhagavatam, the whole thing is describing Hari Lila, beautiful pastimes of the Lord and of his devotees. It says both, and all of it is with a purpose to increase our renunciation. And we were looking at the 29th, I think the Rasa Panchadhyaya is the 29th through 34th chapters of the 10th canto. And there also, you'll see renunciation very intensely described. So sometimes the focus is misapplied. But actually, we were looking at the verse, Gyane Prayasam Udapasya Namanta Eva. And this word Udapasya, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that giving up quality. In fact, that word, that's the only time it's used in all of Srimad Bhagavatam is in that verse. But apasya is used a couple other times, and it's used in that 29th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, that the gopis, they dropped everything to run to Krishna. And so if that's understood, if that quality of those chapters is understood, their exclusive devotion to Krishna, dropping everything else to serve the Lord, then it's very nice. But that realization can only come with proper study from the beginning couple of chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, which are described as being the lotus feet of the Lord. We were just reading recently Nakadyubhir, that the Lord's toenails are coming from the lotus flower, like a lotus blooming in the autumn season. The palasa, the petals are like the Lord's toenails, and they illuminate the devotee's life, destroying all the ignorance within his heart. And Srila Prabhupada says these are the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. If they're studied properly in that order, then you get that illumination and you can understand the rest of Srimad Bhagavatam in its proper context. So sometimes less intelligent men, they just want to hear about the rasa dance, but they do so with the wrong motivation. The sage Maitreya is saying, whatever you've asked from me about the reputation and character of Dhruva, I've explained to you. I think the original question was that this attainment is very difficult. To achieve success is no ordinary thing. And it's from that point that the story of Dhruva Maharaj is told, that here's an example of someone who had that supreme success with his great determination. And devotees love to hear about it. Devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. Samatam Satam. His reputation and fame are greatly appreciated. So it's described the Kanishta Adhikari only sees himself in God. And it's a quality of a more advanced devotee that he recognizes the other devotees. And with that recognition comes support and loving relationships that boost our own advancement in devotional service. To see Dhruva Maharaj's success engenders a desire for our own success. And also, I really like that Narada Muni was proud of Dhruva Maharaj, and I always pray that Guru Maharaj se puede ser orgulloso en mí también. Maharaj, if you have any comments.
We've heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much liked to hear about Dhruva Charitra, about the activities of character of Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. And Prabhupada also very enthusiastic, speaking about Prahlad Maharaj and Prithu Maharaj and so on. Dhruvasyo Dhamma Yashasa, the fame, the the glories of Dhruva Maharaj, the reputation is uplifting. Why are we hearing this? Sages are gathered, they're serious men. They've got, as they say, they're on a mission. So why are we speaking about Dhruva Maharaj? It will be uplifting. Whether we're a common person or we're a sage, these activities of Dhruva Maharaj are uplifting. If we want to understand Ras Leela, all of those things, first we have to be uplifted. Otherwise, we'll think that it's something like ordinary affairs. Prabhupada said, you say again and again, this is not this, this is not this, this is not this. And still they'll think, yes, this is this. Because the heart is not pure. So in spite of 1,000 warnings, still we'll think, yes, something like this. So one has to be uplifted. So the Dhruva Katha will uplift those who hear. Therefore, the Sukadeva Goswami is speaking these things to Parikshit Maharaj at the end of his life. Prabhupada was keen to speak of these things. And the genuine devotees, as Prabhupada says elsewhere, don't reject even a drop of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the real devotee, not that he only can hear about Krishna and gopis. 10th canto. 10th canto, and in that only the Ras Leela. No, everything. Dhruva Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, Kapila Dev, Pandavas, everything.
Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Bhishma Stuti.
Bhishma Stuti. 20's prayers. And Charitam Sammatam Satam. Atmavit Samata Pumsam Shrotavyadi Shuyapara. These topics of Srimad Bhagavatam are Atmavit Samata, approved by those who are knowers of the self. So Satam means the pure devotees, or those who are on the platform of the eternal Satam, the platform of the truth. The pure devotees. Charitam Sammata. They've agreed. They're in agreement on this point, that these topics of Dhruva Maharaj are uplifting, and they are worth our hearing. His character, Dhruva Charita, Dhruva Charita, is worth hearing. Something else?
Saraswati Masterji writes, I was reading the following from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The disciplic succession of Madhvacharya is known as the Brahma Vaishnava sect. That is, the sect coming down from Lord Brahma. Consequently, the Tattvavadis, or followers of Madhvacharya, do not accept the incident of Lord Brahma's illusion, which is recorded in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Madhvacharya has purposefully avoided commenting on that portion of Srimad Bhagavatam in which Brahma Mohana, the illusion of Lord Brahma, is mentioned. There are also devotees that don't like reading some parts that may detail gruesome battle scenes. So is it okay to avoid certain parts of the spiritual literatures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam?
Of course, there Madhva Sampradaya may have some particular, shall we say, respect. This concerns our guru, so we're not going to talk about this. It's all right, it's there, but we're not going to talk about it. Just if our parents somehow get in some kind of compromised situation. That's not for us to talk about. We'll whatever it is, but we'll talk about something else. That may be some particular thing. But of course, we also read about, although we're in the Madhva Sampradaya, but we're reading these things and learning from them. There was something else. Yeah, that Prabhupada says Krishna's killing is as good as his dancing with the gopis. So, of course, one may have a little more taste for Krishna herding the cows, Krishna this, that, but his killing demons is also transcendental topic. It may be a little gruesome, but it will also be uplifting. But someplace it's said in regard to some of Krishna's pastimes where the rivers of blood flowing and the horses were like islands floating in the rivers of blood, and then the rivers overflowed again with more killing, and the hair of the dead bodies was like seaweed, and so these whole descriptions were there. And someplace it's said, as I recall, that those who are like heroes, they take pleasure in hearing about these things. So there may be some particular taste in one direction or another. Just like some children, they like horror movies, they like,
Comedy.
something gruesome, something. They have a taste in that direction. All right, then let us read Bhagavatam where these gruesome things are going on, and so on. And others, they'll prefer some other different kind of taste. So we're not rigid. No, you have to. But we shouldn't avoid that. No, this is material or this is just gruesome. No, this is Krishna's business also. So something may attract you more, something may attract you less, but it's not like the ghastly activities of the materialists. The battle at Kurukshetra is not like the battle in Vietnam, where it's simply for sense gratification on both sides. Because Krishna is involved, we have an interest. And particularly because Bhagavad Gita is spoken there. So something will resonate with someone more, something else with someone more, someone will be attracted to this particular incident, that particular incident. Something sticks with one person, something sticks with another person. But we're not the thought police. No, you have to. But we shouldn't just avoid. No, that means you haven't understood. All the fighters who were killed got liberation. So at least we should understand and not reject these things. And if we have a little more taste someplace else, all right. But not that, oh, my taste is just for Radha Krishna and going to Radha Kund and only hearing about the divine ambrosial glories of the ultimate couple and the get off it. You will get off it, and within a short time you'll be, back waiting tables in New York City or something. But even if you stay, no, this is not what the acharyas have recommended as the right treatment. Patiently follow the path. And all right, something you find more interesting. No harm, but not in this cheap way that we only go for the top, for the goodies. We only go for the sweet boxes. No, one has to see the sweetness in these other activities. One should come to the point that we can ask ourselves, why don't we have any taste for hearing about Dhruva Maharaj? Why don't we have a taste for hearing about Prahlad Maharaj, for hearing about Prithu Maharaj or Pardamuni, Kapil Dev? And if we have no taste for these things, we're going to have a taste for the higher things. It means some material conception is still there. Yes, Swayam Jyoti.
In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is shown the universal form. And then towards the end, he's so frightened. That's all gruesome, the fight is.
Yeah, we see the Uttamangai, and Churnitai Uttamangai, the soldiers being ground to powder by the teeth of the universal form. Yes.
Yeah, so he was more and more frightened himself. He said, "No, I don't want to see this. Go back to your four-handed form, and then go back to your two-handed form." But he saw that gruesome scene.
And Vyasadeva has preserved it, that you should know about this. And similarly, these philosophical messages. No, I skip over the philosophy part. No. Philosophy is required. Or I just, I like the nice parts where it talks about, having a taste for Krishna consciousness, where it talks about transcendental ecstasy. I don't like the parts where it talks about undergoing austerities, or it talks about where it speaks negatively about material life. I want to have a positive mindset. No, not like that. We should hear everything.
On the creation, Maharaj.
Creation. I don't know. Why do I have to hear about the creation? Because this is mundane. No, this will be purified. Was there a last comment there?
Yes. Radesha Prabhu writes, it took 2.5 chapters to answer the question. Here's the starting point leading to Maitreya Rishi's answer, Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.27. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Then Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.28, Sri Vijora inquired, my dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotional service, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Dhruva Maharaj achieved this position even in one life, and he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased?
So, very pointed questions. And it's worth spending a couple of chapters to mine these questions. Was that the end, or was there another question there?
There are more things in the chat. Praveen Krishna Prabhu writes, Pujala Ragapata Gaurabhabange Matala Sadhu Jana Visaya Range. The path of spontaneous love for Krishna is worshipable to us and should be held overhead as our highest aspiration.
This is a 3-hour discussion. What we can say that the book Follow the Angels by Srila B.R. Sridhar Maharaj comments on that verse extensively. Important verse by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And I think we're at the time, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, Mark.
Could I say one quick comment?
Well,
Yes.
use your one quick comment, Radesh.
I liked what you were saying about, we don't like to hear the verses about austerities or this or that. I just want to hear the sweet ones. And His Holiness Hanumat Preshika Maharaj just 2 days ago made a poignant remark in that regard. He said that when we read Srimad Bhagavatam or various Shastras, we see our own faults. and he was giving the point that often for women, you know, they say, oh, Srila Prabhupada's so critical of women. And he said that once he took sannyas, then suddenly he started noticing how critical Srila Prabhupada is of fake sannyasis and false renunciants. And he started noticing that, oh, this is all pointing at me. And so according to our position, we see different things in Shastra that feel very pointed at our nerves, you know, what applies to us directly. So, but none of it should be avoided. It's all the great physician's remedy, cutting out those things which need to be cut. So,
someplace I think Prabhupada said, if you think you're a woman, then you're less intelligent. If you think you're a woman, then that means less intelligent. One has to go beyond that. Okay, who's chanting?
Just a quick reminder for everyone. We're starting a new schedule this week, so that means class tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Formerly there was no class, now there is. So everyone please tune in tomorrow, Tuesday. And if you know others that may not be so well informed, please inform them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kendrick.
Maharaj, you have an on-site assembly there that ready to lead kirtan?
Who wants to lead kirtan?
I'm not a very good singer, but I can try.
Okay, you don't have to be a good singer. You just have to chant Hare Krishna. Kivesh.
Maharaj, maybe you can make sure that the original sound is turned on.
Original sound. Yes. Thank you.
Got it.
Good.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you, Prabhu, for leading Kirtan. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Tuesday, for continuation of our Srimad Bhagavatam reading. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.